Welcome to the Joy Work Show, the podcast that goes beyond the surface of business right to the heart to explore the real joy and the stories behind success. Not just the moments of celebration, but the challenges that paved the way for them. Hiya, I'm Diane, and on this podcast we know that joy isn't just about the good times. Often the greatest joy comes right after the greatest challenge. Today's guest is someone who proves that joy and order can absolutely go hand in hand. I'm joined by Ilaria Sambi, a systems and automation strategist who helps business owners go from chaos to calm by simplifying how they manage leads, clients, and operations. But what makes Ilaria's journey so fascinating is her background. From scientist in the corporate world to business owner navigating tech fears and finding fulfillment in entrepreneurship. In today's episode, we talk about the real power of systems, how tech can become your best friend, not your biggest fear, and why a tidy back end can lead to major peace of mind. We talk about automation, client experience, mindset shifts, and the role that systems play not just in growing a business, but in creating the time and space to actually enjoy it. Because that's what we all get into this for, right? If you've ever felt overwhelmed by tech, unsure about automating, you're completely terrified of tech, or you just know that your business systems are currently duct taped together and barely hanging on, then this is for you. But as always, it's so much better to hear directly from. Hi, Ilaria, and welcome to the Joy Work Show. I am so delighted to have you on as my guest today. And the beautiful thing today is I'm going to be learning all about you exact same time as our audience, which is always quite exciting for me. So tell me and everyone else who you are, what you do, and how you got here.
Hello, first of all, and thank you so much for this lovely introduction. I'm really excited to be here. So my name is Ilaria Sambi. I am Italian, as you might say and hear from my accent, but I live in the UK right now. I've been living here for 15 years. I'm Italian. I moved here to work as a scientist. That was around 15 years ago. And now I work for myself. I am a systems and automations expert, and I help entrepreneurs build systems that create freedom in their lives. So very different, but very similar things. So I'm doing similar things to what I used to do I call it my past life, when I used to work in corporate. And that was the reason why I moved to the UK in the first place.
So was it a job that brought you to the UK? Was it?
Yes, a job. So I graduated in biotechnology from the University of Milan. And then, to be honest, in Italy, I couldn't see really many opportunities. Everything was not really well paid, any opportunity that I could see. And then I applied for these sort of grant, like an internship for a big company here in the UK. And I got accepted. So originally, I was supposed to stay for 6 months, but then I really enjoyed the UK. It was a different place from what I expected. I moved to Liverpool, and I've been in Liverpool for 15 years. And in Italy, I'm from Milan. Milan is a little bit like London. People just don't say hello. Walk past you, and they are so busy. They need to go to work. And I say this with a smile. So Milanese people from Milan are exactly the same. So when I moved to Liverpool in the north of England, I felt the difference with people being really friendly, stopping you on the road to ask if you needed anything when they see you looking at the map and not knowing where you are. So I just enjoyed it so much that I decided to stay a bit longer. And then a permanent position was offered in my job, and then my husband came along a couple of years after. So at that point, really, I didn't have any reasons to go back to Italy. So I stayed, and it's been 15 years this year.
Now, the north of England is a pretty special place. I'm in Manchester, so I understand the kind of north of England pool,
Yes.
and how warm a place it is.
Yes.
But how did you make the transition from, I take it was like a corporate scientist working in biotech, to launching your own business. What was that transition like?
So I've always thought that I wanted to do something different, but I didn't know what it was. And I've spent, like my education. So I went to university, I studied as a scientist. So I really thought that that's all I knew, that's all I was supposed to do in my life. So, but when I was on maternity leave, for my daughter, she's 6 now. So I was on maternity leave and I finally had that space, the mental space to think about what I really wanted to do in my life. And I really enjoyed working from home after. So while I was on maternity leave, obviously I wasn't working, but I had the flexibility to just do what I wanted. Obviously I had my baby to look after, but then I could go out when I wanted. I could manage my day and cook. And I really love cooking, and I've always struggled a bit. I'm celiac, I'm gluten free. I really struggle to find sandwiches. All the little things I started to see that, maybe I would like to work from home. And then I had to go back to my job, but then COVID hit. So I was back in the office for a month, and then we were back home again. So after 1 year home with my baby, I had to go back home with my baby and my husband. But then at that point, I did have an idea to start a business, but I wasn't sure what it was. And then I was scared, obviously, to leave like a permanent job, a secure salary. So I kind of made a plan, but then I didn't really do much during the maternity leave. But then when COVID hit, I thought, this is my chance to actually make it work. Like I saw it as a sign, like something is telling me that I now have the time. I've got a permanent job and I can still do it from home, while in my spare time, while we're at home, we cannot do anything else. I can build up my business. And that's what I did. It took a year before being confident enough to leave my 9 to 5. And then I jumped head first in my self-employment journey, and it's going really well. It's been 4.5 years now, and I'm never going to go back. So it's been positive.
4.5 years is quite an achievement, because
Yeah,
not many businesses get past the first year, never mind a
I
subsequent
know.
year
Yes.
after. So well done on that. So you say that you work with people on their systems and automations and saving time and within their business. Was that what attracted you straight away? Was that what you went into straight away after?
Yes, because probably by being a scientist, I've always had a scientific brain and like structured brain. I like to solve problems and put things in order, which I know that a lot of people don't like. So like a lot of creatives, they enjoy to just create, to just being spontaneous without worrying too much about the mess that they're making, or like how organized they are behind the scenes. But then they get to a point where they cannot like the mess anymore and things need to be more structured. So I wouldn't say I knew that that's what I wanted to do, but I knew it was going to be something around IT, tech, systems. I've always been, the one who would fix the parents' phone when something was wrong. I like to fiddle with gadgets, with technology, yes. So I knew it had to be something around that. I wasn't sure what it was, but I'm glad that I started and to do little things. I've literally just asked around, like, what do you need help with? And then I was lucky enough to find some clients who gave me the opportunity to learn some platforms, and then I went from there.
I think it's one of those underestimated things, or one of those things that people put on a nice to have list, or when I get successful list, these are the things that I'll look into. And I don't see it like that. I see it as something that you have to invest as quickly as you can, when you can, for your business, because if you do it as a foundational thing, as system and the processes that you put within your business, then your business grows with it. Whereas if you wait till it's huge and then you try and put a system in place, then it's much more difficult. It's, to get the data under control, to find out what happens when a customer calls you or texts you or messages you, and where does that go? And I think people really underestimate the power that it can have in your business.
Absolutely. A lot of people think it's nice to have to be organized and to have systems in place, but it really is not. And a lot of people realize this the hard way when they get too busy and they cannot cope with all the jobs that they created for themselves without having a system, and then they go towards burnout.
Yeah.
And that's when they contact me. But I wish people would come a little bit earlier to set the foundations first before getting to the point that they're so stressed and so anxious about everything that they don't know what to do.
Absolutely. And I think it's, you know, if we go to, you know, we're in the online business space, and if we go to the majority of online business owners and ask them what they want, they'll tell you they need more leads and they need more sales. But sometimes they don't even realize the leads they've got around them and the sales that they've left on the table because they haven't had a system
Yes.
that supports everything else. So yes, a system without you marketing and talking about what you do and your offers is not going to create leads for you. But in the same breath, if you are out there and you're doing all the things and you're showing up in all the places, but you don't have a system to support you, especially if you're a solopreneur or a business of one, if you don't have that system to support you, you're going to lose out. You're going to lose out on names and numbers and
Yes.
who should I be phoning now and who should I be contacting now? And those systems really, really empower you. In fact, there's a quote by James Clear that says your business doesn't rise to the size of your goal. It falls to the effectiveness of your system or processes or something along those lines. And
yes, I love Atomic Habits is from where it's from. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize, they think if I just dream big, if I just keep pushing, if I put another post out, if I talk here, if I show up here, and that all absolutely needs to be done. But if you have a system that supports you, you have confidence, you have automations that can support you in it. There's so much more. What's the greatest thing that you think that it can bring for business owners that are listening today?
A lot of I'm helping a lot of clients at the moment with just what you say, leads managing and client managing. There's a process, like the onboarding process, from the moment when somebody comes across our social media profile to the moment where they become clients, which there must be a process in place, because otherwise I get so many clients who come to me and say, I lose leads, I lose potential clients because they contact me on Facebook, on Instagram, by email, by my form on the website, and then I get busy with stuff, and then I forget where they came from, and I don't know where they are anymore, and then maybe a week has passed and they went to someone else, which is fair enough. Like we need to be fast. Like the online world is going so fast that people are not going to wait for us, so we need a fast process in place, a professional process in place. So I can see more and more people coming to me for that, for like having a structured place where they put all their leads, they know exactly when they need to follow up, when they need to do which actions. And this is like, I do understand when people don't want to set things like this up until they need it, because it's not the sexiest of the business stuff. I know somebody told me once tech is the downside of having a business, which offended me a little bit because that's my job. Like I love tech, and tech is actually the reason why I started my business. But I do understand that a lot of things are, so, marketing is fun. Creating posts on Instagram is fun, or like investing in a coach who promises you to give you freedom and 10K per month while you sip a cocktail on the beach. It seems much easier and doable, and a lot of people, I wouldn't say fall from it, but sometimes I would say they fall from these promises, which are a bit, it's just marketing. But then they end up then coming to me and realizing finally that what they need really is to do the work, is to do the unsexy work and get the unsexy foundations in place, because that's how that girl in Bali who's sipping the cocktail is gotten there. It is with the coaching, with the marketing, with everything has got its place. It's not just because she paid the coach. You need to actually do the work and put the things in place.
Yeah, but it's that I wish more business owners saw that actually the tech, even as simple as sometimes a spreadsheet, those are the sexy things, because they tell you where your business is at. They tell you what to do more of. If people are feeling stuck and can't decide what to do next or to do more of, if they had the tech in place, if they had the processes in place, along with the KPIs, it would tell them what they need to do next. It would tell them what to do more of and what to do. And to me, that's like the ultimate sexy in business, because
Exactly.
Because it takes away your emotion. You can trust your gut to grow your business and work with your clients and create your offers and knowing direction. But it's really nice to have a set of figures that tells you that your gut's right.
Yes.
And it's really important to use your intuition, but it can be fueled by having these processes in place. And there will be no successful business without processes and tech. You could come off, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial now, you could come off Instagram today and still grow your business.
Absolutely,
If
yes.
you're not going to have tech and processes, you are not going to grow your business.
Yeah.
And that's my bottom line.
Yes, yes.
And I don't think people really appreciate the power
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
that it can have within the business.
I had a client recently. She's completely against tech. She says she's a technophobe. She doesn't want to know anything about it. And I built a really nice like financial spreadsheet, automated, where she before this she didn't know where her money was going. She didn't know how much her expenses were, how her income. So like, how can you take decisions in business if you don't know exactly what to profit? How much are you paying your team? So I built it all. And then she literally said to me, I'm so excited for the spreadsheet. And so we were laughing because so something like that I wouldn't thought it would ever have come out of her mouth. But this is what literally a lot of people will feel after having their, even like simple systems like a spreadsheet in place. Just, it's a boring job that I can do for people. But then once it's done, it really gives you that confidence, as you were saying, like excitement, because you finally see the numbers. You're like, oh my God, I thought I needed to reach 5K a month, but I'm actually already making them. A lot of people realize that. It's interesting and fascinating.
And it gives them the ideas of what it will take to hit those elusive 10K months that everybody talks about, or actually they are happy at earning more, because actually it's about the balance. It's about what success looks like for you. It's about what you want your life to look like. And sometimes people look at a 10K, a 15K, a 20K a month life and think, actually, I thought that's what I wanted. Actually, it's not what I wanted. Yeah. I just want to pay my bills and go on holiday whenever I want. And as long as I'm doing that, that's enough for me. Or somebody else might be like, no, it's 20K a month or nothing. And all of those along that spectrum are absolutely fine. But it's having the tools around you to know what that looks like, to know what those increases can do. And without it, like you say, you can invest in every coach, you can do all of the marketing, but you're not going to get the result, because you're going to keep getting stuck every single time.
Yes.
So what do you think is the easiest, something that's really easy that people can implement quickly and easily if they've got no tech or processes in their business at all? Where's the kind of first point of call for you?
I would say I see a lot of people who just arrange clients call, or like potential clients call with back and forth by email. And there are free and very easy to use tools to schedule your calls. One is called Calendly. It's free to use. You can have your discovery call link there, share with people, so they will find a slot in your calendar. And it seems, for some of us, it seems like absolutely basic stuff to have, but I've seen people who don't know about this, or like they're still like they don't trust tech that much, so they think they're gonna mess up, something's gonna happen. But that is a little bit of time that you save there. And then so with tech is like compound effect as well. So like everything adds up. Like the 2 minutes that you spend here, 3 minutes there, 5 minutes there, they seem like small tasks, but then everything, like you will end up like with 2 hours of manual tasks that you could automate, or like you could have a system do that. And like scheduling calls is definitely something that is easy for everybody to automate.
I think as well. And also, when you have a calendar that schedules the calls, whether it's Calendly or through somebody else, it puts the power in your hands.
Yes.
Because you pick when you want to do the calls. If you decide I'm not doing any customer facing, client facing calls on a Monday, you can make your calendar look so they can only book when you want to do those calls. And for me, that was really important, because I know that if on certain days, if a client caught me at a certain time and we were going back and forth of email or when they could do, if they told me they wanted to do a call at 7:00 on a Sunday night, I'd end up saying yes. When ultimately that's not what I want to be doing. I wouldn't be at my best. It's not professional or effective. But I would end up doing it because I'd just be like, I really want to speak to this person.
You want to see,
whereas if you're like, here's my calendar, here's when I'm working, this is when you can fit in, or even giving them like 2 times, because you're much more likely from a selling psychology, you're much more likely to be able to book somebody when you have the power and they have the availability, rather than this really loose
absolutely.
I think do the call whenever.
It's so interesting what you're saying. I feel like I act with my clients a little bit as a mindset coach sometimes, because things like this, I had to kind of convince clients into like, okay, we set up this Calendly, this scheduler, but your availability cannot be 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And so there's a lot of mindset like blocks there to realize also that they need. So tech and systems work if you streamline, if you simplify what you're doing also manually. So what you're doing in your business in general, even if tech didn't exist, sometimes the problem is not the tech that is missing, but is the mindset piece, or like the way you organize yourself is all over the place. A lot of people definitely like they take client calls at any time. They don't have like set days during the week to do certain things. A task is a task. There's no priority. So I also like to help in that sense of like suggesting, recommending to do a step back before thinking about the tech. Let's think about how we can get more organized. And it's nice to see people then realizing that they've kept themselves stuck by not taking decisions or just being too available, trying to please everyone, trying to always be there. So I do some of that, but it's interesting how I'm not a coach, but I sometimes I find myself in having to guide people through this process of like getting organized and putting their boundaries in place.
Exactly. And I think for you to be successful and continue the growth of your business, the fact that that's how you'll work with your clients, because you know that when it comes to tech, like you say, there's people who are literally like, I am a technophobe, I cannot do it, because they're thinking about, I don't know how that system works. I don't know how what this button does, what this, and I'm scared of breaking it. When ultimately you can't really, you can undo things and I always say to people, just play, and you'll find the way. But it's understanding the reasons why, and the fact that you work with them on like, but this is what it can do for you. Forget how it works. Forget the clever nuts and bolts in the background. Forget that you don't know what SEO and tags and meta tags and all the other things mean, and funnels and, all the other words that you're just like, that just doesn't mean. Think about what you want it to do. And you just want to tell clients you're available on a Tuesday between 10 and 4 for calls. That's when they can book in. That's all you want to do. But that's what the system can do. And like you say, it's such a mindset piece. Because I know, like, and the beauty for me is, like, I know at times that I need to. So say I'm launching something, I'll open up my calendar much wider than normal, but only for X amount of days, just to fulfill that time. But I know the rest of the time that my calendar doesn't allow people to book in before 10 o'clock in the morning, doesn't allow people to book in after 4, because I'm picking and dropping off and picking up my children and all those. And to know that that's taken care of, I feel in control. I feel confident. I feel empowered. And I think people don't realize that that's what having these processes in place can give them. And yet it takes a little bit of time to sit back and think, like, what do you want it to do? And if you're thinking about your customer journey, what do you want to happen? People forget that as soon as somebody sees your Instagram page, your Facebook page, your website, they're a customer.
Yes.
And are you treating them as such? What happens when they come into your world? And tech is the greatest supporter that you can have to make it a great customer experience. So do you think it's as in many things, that it's a fear that's holding people back?
Yes, fear of not having the control with tech, but also not knowing exactly themselves what they want to do. So I feel like there's a pattern, and I went through it myself, that when you start a business, you are trying to find somebody who gives you the magic, who's got the magic wand, who's got the solution to all your problems, who's got the key of solving the problem, the reason why you're not making money. And that's when, some people are ethical and they teach you that it takes time, and some others don't. But then, and I went through that. So I invested in courses and I learned everything I needed. And then we get to the stage where they realize, okay, I need to put the work in. But then some people still, although they know what they need to do, they still waste time they find excuses because the tech is too difficult. I don't know how to do it. I don't even know how to how to set up some. So sometimes they don't even know what is possible. So they don't have the answers. They don't know what to look for. They don't know whether they need an expert in onboarding, an expert in another thing, or a VA. So it's a cycle. So that's why I also help people with recommending what they need. So I offer free consultations like everybody, but I'm totally happy to say, okay, this is nothing that I cover, but I think you should go to this person because your main problem is this, and I don't cover that, or like if I cover it, I can help you. But definitely there's a lot of fear. And as you were saying, it's unjustified because the systems that are out there right now, they are very easy to use. There's nothing you can break. I do understand, like some of my clients are my same age, but their mentality towards tech is like the same as my mom's. Like she's worried to touch her phone and worried to break something, and she always comes to me. It shouldn't be like this, really.
I know, and I think that I think most people would say that the fear of tech is what's keeping them stuck, but I actually think that they're overwhelmed about the decisions they need to make.
Yes.
It's investing in a platform can be costly at times. There's lots of free options or low cost options out there. It doesn't have to be costly, but it feels like a big investment. They think they're going to be stuck with the one platform for
and they don't want to take the wrong decision because it's already a big decision. They don't want to have to waste more money and time to go to another one. But the answer to that is that there's actually not a right solution for everybody. So I cannot create something that tells you exactly the solution for you. I have to know so much information. Every business is completely different. So you might be at the start of your business, but you have savings. So you might be happy to invest in something fancy. But then some other person instead has got very specific requirements for the business. They need to collect some information. So like just there isn't an answer that is okay for everybody. And mistakes happen. So like it's really hard to pick the right perfect platform the first way around. I could recommend the perfect platform, but then that one might be not the one that you want at this stage of your business. You still are not sure whether you're going to go this route or not, whether you're going to do this for a long time. So really every situation is different. And you might make a mistake. You might pick the wrong platform, but it's better to make a mistake, but then start somewhere than being stuck in that decision, not taking that decision of what am I going to do? In a lot of things in business, really, this is not just the tech. But with the tech, I see that a lot. One of the questions that people ask me more often is like, which system is best for insert something, for email marketing, for this and that? And my answer is always, it depends.
It totally does depend, and I've used lots of different systems, and I use an all-in-one system at the moment, and it's perfect for what I do now, but I don't know if that'll be the same in a year or 2 years or what it is. But like you say, it's about that trial and error and doing those things, and but I think some people can hide behind that it's fear of tech when actually it's fear of an overwhelm from the decisions that they have to make.
Possibly.
Because they don't think about their processes, and they don't think about, whereas if they have manual processes, they'll know, I really want to stop doing that. So maybe they're sending all their emails out manually or contacting the customers manually, whereas the first thing to do would be have a CRM that did all that for you. And there's lots of free versions of that, particularly for emails that people could start with. So it's about that thing of the thing that you don't like doing, or the thing that you know if it automated you could do more of, or the thing that's going to bring more income to you. It's about, I think it's when people look at a big picture, they get overwhelmed rather than thinking, well, here's my dream. How do I break that down? And where does tech come into that? Here are all the things I want to do. Where can I get help? And there's so many different options out there. Do a lot of your clients talk about AI automations? Is that something
they ask? It's something that I want to get more knowledge about. I to be honest, it overwhelms me because there's just so much, and every day, like, you just see these new AI builders or new AI apps popping up, and I want to know more. And I am in a membership, actually. They are expert in AI more towards copy, which is my weakness. So other people like to write. I am the opposite. So I'm in this membership, and they are training basically your ChatGPT to write better copy, which I love. But I know that there's so many possibilities, and it's overwhelming, a bit scary, but also fascinating and interesting. So I was able to play with one the other day and build an actual app that helped me with my onboarding. So we would take information from different places, and it's a good start. But then I don't have the knowledge to make it an actual thing. But I know there's a lot of people who are obviously specializing in it. Yes, so we'll see.
It's going to be really interesting to what it does, especially to like the tech platforms and things. I know that the platforms I now use have some sort of AI in them, and I know people are really, really scared about it. But it's a development that is coming.
Yeah, it is coming. We need to accept it.
Yeah, and I don't think people realise how long they've actually been using elements of AI for that.
Yeah, of course.
That they take for granted, like predictive text and things like
Yes.
that. You know, they don't think, but that's been around for quite some time now, and that is definitely, AI and things are.
Yes, all they did with the AI is translating like common language, something that is obviously happening behind the scenes of every system. Every system like picks the information and then finds a solution, and it gives you like an output, which can be like your receipt from a purchase or other things. And so it's always been there. It's just way more accessible now. But I see it in a positive way also, though obviously I can see that in 20 years I might be out of my job, the current job that I'm doing now, because it will be covered by AI. But also that's why I need to keep improving and learning on new things, because there will be other things. There will always be minor things, or like things where you need the human brain. You will always need to check. The results of AI. I recently was talking with a friend. She said that the AI was lying to her as well. So like she asked for some instructions and I gave the instruction, but then she checked and she wouldn't follow the instructions. So AI actually said, I invented it, which is like, it's crazy. It's like, I didn't know that could happen. So we need to be really careful and never trust it. But like, we shouldn't trust anything that we can see on Wikipedia. Or like you can see on Google, because all this information comes from human, and like AI is not inventing information, it's taking information that human, that like me and you write on the internet. So somebody with a brain has written that information. That's all it does. So it always comes back to us, and always double checking everything. Yeah, I find it
there's
really
always
amazing.
New revolutions coming, and I think people forget there was an industrial revolution.
Yes.
And then the internet came, and then there was the 80s and 90s boom of things. And every time it comes that this is going to be the threat to human jobs, and when life is never going to be the same again. And yes, it will never be the same again, but like you said, there's always going to be human interaction and human needed. So yes, we might be out of the jobs that we're in, but there'll be something else. Although hopefully in 30 years' time I'll be retired, so I won't need to worry about it too much.
Okay.
I'll just be asking my robot to bring me a cocktail.
Oh my God, that'll be awesome.
Hopefully. Okay, well, as you know, in this podcast, I ask everybody 3 questions that they get to see beforehand and tell us a little bit more about their joy. So the first one is the joy spotlight. A favourite thing that has shaped your life, business, or work?
My favourite thing is wait, you got me on the spot there. I think the fact that but I would say my kids, although like I'm not like a mumsy mom. I'm not like, my kids are obviously the most important thing that I created in my life. I see them as the reason why I'm doing this. So like, I don't know if I didn't have my daughter, my son after, if I would have had the courage to take such a big step and move. I've always, honestly, I never ever thought about becoming self-employed. I thought I was going to work in my job just because that's what my family, everybody did. Like they went up the career ladder and became manager and then directors and then etc. I thought that I needed to follow. So I didn't know that there was a different option, and I wouldn't have discovered it probably if it wasn't for my daughter. And also the fact that I wanted to show my daughter and my son that they can do whatever they want. I didn't want to, I was, getting a bit miserable in my job, and I thinking about, oh, my daughter will grow up and she will see me being miserable. She will see that I'm still stuck in a place that I don't like. And that was my push. So in that terms, yeah, like they really shaped, like they changed my life. Obviously, as kids change your life, because life is never going to be the same, but also like they improved it in that sense. Like they made me realize what is important for me, and not like regardless my family, which country I am, what is important for me. And for me it was freedom, like what we were saying before about technology. If we didn't have fast internet and laptops, I couldn't work from home like I'm doing now. There's pros and cons, but I am really grateful for the technology that is allowing me to do this.
No, and I completely agree. And I, like you, I started my business after children, and I have kind of two levels of why, but my ultimate why is my two girls, because I do not know, like you, that if I would have started my business without having them, because I'd thought on and off for years of times of unhappiness in my career and all the things, thinking I could do more. There's definitely something I could do. I tried and dabbled at things, but I worked too many hours to ever make anything work. But it wasn't till I had the children that, like you say, it was the courage of just like, no, I need to make this work now. This is plan A, and there is no plan A, because school and childcare and nursery and wanting them to see that you can have a life and pick a life that you love and not be miserable, and not seeing mummy going to work looking miserable and stressed and rushing. And it's not perfect. There's days they still see mummy stressed and things like that, but it's a lot better than it would have been if I'd still been working and rushing along motorways to pick them up from nursery.
Absolutely,
and
I
things
agree.
like that. So they are that why. I mean, I always say you have to have further whys, because my children are not the reason I choose to do a podcast. My children aren't the reason why I choose to do the work that I do. So that's a different why.
Yeah.
But they are definitely they're the reason I started in the first place. And I don't know. I cannot, with hindsight, say that I'd be doing this.
It's much deeper reason. Like
there's a reason that you work with tech. It's because it's part of your, the reason you work tech is nothing to do with your children. It's to do with your passion and your joy and the transformations that you can help people with, and wanting to help those business owners. And it's really important to have those too. But yes, ultimately, the children are the reason that I'm here and starting my business in the first place. Then we have Inspired by Joy. So that's a book or a mentor who has changed things for you, changed something for you, and kind of stayed with you.
So recently, like 6 months ago, I went to Ideas Fest, and I speaking on stage was Leanne Maskell, which she's an ADHD coach. And I haven't been diagnosed officially with ADHD, but I'm going through the process. And personally, I don't think you need to be diagnosed to kind of learn from the fact that I possibly could have ADHD. And I've learned so much about myself and about the way I behave and the way I work. And I also behave with other people from reading about ADHD. And Leanne wrote a book, which is called ADHD from A to Z, which is done as well for people with ADHD. Like, one of my traits is that I cannot read a book. Like, I keep, I get stuck, I get distracted, and I need to reread it. Instead, it's made in very short chapters very, very straightforward and very simple to read. And I just learned a lot. And I thought she was an inspiration, because her ADHD was pretty bad, and she didn't let it stop her from becoming then an ADHD coach. So she is doing this for a living. And the fact she was talking about her struggles, her depressions, how she was going through a very, very rough time until she decided to use it as a superpower and to not let ADHD stop her from achieving what she wanted. That was really inspirational for me.
It's so funny, isn't it, that sometimes we come across these people or books at exactly the time in our life that maybe we needed to see it. I suppose that's the universe looking after us. But it's so interesting having so many conversations recently about ADHD, and somebody actually said to me, do you think that you could have ADHD? And I'm like, well, probably. And probably as a child, I would have been diagnosed with something. I'm completely hyperactive, as my mum do it, and attention wasn't great. So I do think that, but like you, but I don't have any problems. I don't feel I need a diagnosis. But what's so inspiring, and I haven't come across Leanne Maskell, I am going to have a look at her online, but it's so inspiring when people share their stories, because then, like you say, there's tools you can use. If you have those tools in those toolbox, and I now know that some of the strategies that I've built to help me with focus and to help me with my energy, because I can be like really high 1 minute and then crashing the next. So I now know how to keep that a bit more balanced. So there's lots of things that you can do, like you say, without having a diagnosis. But feeling diagnosis is important if you feel that you need it or you need much more help. But for me, I don't need to go through that or this precise moment in time. I just need to be aware and learn from people that are speaking about it, learn from people that are out there putting themselves like Leanne and lots of stories that you now hear and thinking, oh, that helps them. Yeah, I've got that little bit like that. I need a little bit of help with my focus. I need a bit of help with
That's
my
so right.
meditation.
Yeah, like other people's experience when you relate, and yeah, they resonate with me a lot. I don't even know all of the traits of ADHD, or some things now I think back to when I was a kid. You know, I was at university. I struggled a little bit to just start. Like I was quite behind for a while, and then I picked up, probably because I was trying to do things like everybody else, like study in a way that everybody else did, but that wasn't working for me. And then I didn't know at the time, but probably I learned what worked best for my ADHD, and then it went better. But now we are thinking back to all these episodes, and just it's a good, let's say, reassurance to know that there's a reason or some coping mechanisms that you can use. But yeah, it's exactly like you. Like, I don't need to be diagnosed. It's just a question of learning from other people, learning what works for other people, to just try to do our best with what we have, with the brain we have, with the situation we have.
That's it. It's just awareness of yourself and that constant process of working on yourself and trying to be better and trying to find ways. But it's so great that there's neurodiverse conversations going on, because I think the problem was years ago that all of these things were there, but there was no conversation, so people couldn't even identify it in themselves.
Yes.
To even help themselves, never mind going for a diagnosis. So it is a real positive change that has come. Okay, so the last one is the joy killer, the thing that you would like to remove from the world.
How long have I got? I got a list.
Let's start the list.
No, let's pick one. No, I have some pet peeves, really. Some that are shared, I know, with other people, some that are very particular to me. I think I've just recently came back from a trip on the plane. I went back to Italy to see my family just by myself. I haven't done it in 7 years by myself. Usually the whole family goes, but it was really nice and relaxing until on the plane. We're going to Milan, so I don't know why. There was a stag do. So these guys at 7 in the morning, they were already quite drunk, and they were shouting very loud, and they were trying to, they were funny. So they made me laugh, but also, like, I was really looking forward to that calm, like finally having some time to read a book and listen to some music on the plane. But so I am not great with people who make a lot of noise when in places where they're supposed to be quiet. So I would say that is my joy killer.
I couldn't agree more. I hate nothing more than when I get on a train, whether I'm trying to work or I just want some quiet time, or I'm trying to read a book, and somebody is on their mobile phone shouting their heads off. That, because the person generally can't hear them on a train. I understand sometimes it's important phone calls, but generally the important ones are over and done with within like
I know.
But there's people that just are telling them about their whole day and who said what, and and Jen, it's the louder, it's that kind of obnoxious loudness that I just think I am so aware of everybody around me at all points. How can you not see?
Yes, I don't understand that.
Because you do see the other passengers that kind of looking at each other like, oh, and the eyes, collective eye roll, but they're completely oblivious.
Yes.
And also, if we are talking about neurodiversity and those things, there's people who that would put them in a really anxious position.
Yes.
And I just think, and it is, and we can laugh and we can joke about it, and it is quite funny, because as soon as I read it on when that's what you answered the question, I did laugh and think absolutely. Quite often, what people put down, I completely agree with. But I just think it's kindness, just being kind to everyone around.
It's quite. I find it rude. I find it rude. Like not having respect for the people who are around you, especially strangers. You don't know these people. You don't know what they're going through. Like I might have might be a bad day. You might be taking a plane for a funeral. Like what do you know? So like
travel for joy. We travel around the world for different reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just think it can be a little bit, and obviously it's more difficult when people are in a crowd and they're going, but just being a little bit more aware and a little bit more kind, and the world would get along much further. So, if anybody's listening and wants to come and find you, Ilaria, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram at Ilaria Sambi. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group which is free and it's for people who want to know a little bit more about tech and systems. It's called Tech and Connect, and we do collaborations. We don't just talk about tech. That would be a bit boring, but I do. People come in and do masterclasses, so it's quite a nice group and engaged. And then so Instagram and Facebook are the places where I hang around the most.
Well, all the links will be in the show notes, everybody, so you'll be able to go and click them right away and go straight to where you want to connect with Ilaria. But before I let you go, I do kind of hit people with a last question, and that is, what joy legacy would you like to leave behind?
I would like to pass the message, not just to business owners, but to anyone who's listening. Like, don't have to have a business, that your time is the most important thing. Like, especially when you get to an adult age where you have kids, you got the career, just always make sure that you save some time for you. And it can be easier than you think to find the time for you. A lot of people have the excuse of, I don't have time for anything that they want to do, but they say they don't have time. But when I know for sure that when you must do something, you find the time. So we can all find the time to do what is important for us. Whether this is by getting more organized, whether this is stopping your Netflix marathon and starting doing something else, or like rearranging your day so you do this thing that you think that you cannot do in the morning. You wake up early. There's so many methods, but time, like the way you use your time is the most important thing. And the way, if you rearrange the way you use your time, that is when you will start being happier. Yeah. You don't need more money. You just need to organize what you're doing every day, every week, every month in a way that makes you happy.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with that. And I always tell my clients, my friends, anyone that will listen to me, that just be careful saying you don't have any time, because the universe is listening. Nothing will be sent your way if you don't have any time.
Yeah, of course.
So just be very, very careful. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ilaria. I really, really enjoyed it. I love having conversations with people who deal with what others deem to be the slightly boring sides of business. I think actually, if they saw them as the sexy side, they'd get on a lot.
I know. Yeah, tell them.
Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
What a brilliant conversation with Ilaria, and a reminder that systems don't have to be cold, robotic, or rigid. In fact, they can be the very thing that gives your business heart and your life freedom. It's all about how you use them. It's all about having that knowledge and that confidence to use them. And as somebody who has always loved a data-driven approach to business, tech has been essential in getting that and moving business forward. But here are my 3 big takeaways from today's episode. Systems are about experience, not just efficiency. When your back end flows, your client journey becomes smoother and your energy gets to stay focused on what you do best. So often, business owners, particularly in the online space, say that they are tied to their processes, that they want to do less admin, that they want to do less of that, and actually do the things that they're experts in. By having a good tech stack and understanding it and what you actually need, you can have all of that and more. Number 2, that mindset matters. Tech fear is real, but it's also teachable and learnable. Most of the time, the problem isn't the system itself, it's the story we're telling ourselves about it. If you continue to tell yourself you're bad at tech, that you don't understand it, that you don't know what it does, that is going to keep you in that place. It's going to tell your mind and your body that indeed you are right, so why would you go near it? But if you come at a place from curiosity and have a play with it, see tech as a toy. You can't break it. Everything's undoable, apart from deleting data maybe. Then there is nothing that can go wrong, and maybe you'll learn to enjoy it. Number 3, automation doesn't replace humanity. It supports it. You're not less personal because your calendar books itself. You're just more available to show up fully when it matters. You're not less human if you have a funnel that looks after your clients throughout it. It means you're looking after the things that are really important, the deliverables within your business. If this episode gave you the nudge to finally look under the hood of your business and start simplifying, or just made you feel seen in the system chaos you've been silently dealing with, I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't yet, please follow the show. Click the subscribe button wherever you are listening or watching this. Leave a review or share this episode with someone who needs a little more joy work in their life. It really makes the biggest difference for me to continue the joy work show and more people can find it. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate every single one of you. Until next time, keep showing up, keep simplifying, and keep finding the joy.